Let's do
Hi, Madeline. Welcome in, my darling. I am so pleased we've got this time together. You know, from the get-go, I've been obsessed with you. You've been such a dream client, and I love how wildly successful your business was when we first started working together. Multi six figures, you're global, you work with some of the most well-known brands in the world. You have a team supporting you as well, and you are such a real beautiful, incredible woman that is so supportive of other women on their journeys as well. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for picking me. Would you like to
Oh,
do an introduction to the lovely ladies who are watching this as well? Tell us a little bit
oh.
more.
Well, firstly, thank you so much, Laura, for having me and for such a beautiful introduction. And back at you. I mean, you are my sister from another mister. So,
Mhm.
so for those of you who don't know, we're both July babes,
Yes.
literally 2 days apart, which is
Yeah.
amazing. So, my name's Madeline McQueen. I am an executive coach, but I will say I am more than a coach, a speaker, a trainer, and I have a global business. So I work with leaders, women in leadership, and I've worked with organizations, run programs for people like Google and Publicis and Meta, when they were Facebook. I've worked with companies like Natixis. So my companies often are in AdMar comms, in finance, in tech, and sometimes retail as well. And my work is very much about literally empowering women. And it's a word that's used a lot, and but it's truly what I do. And it's definitely about helping them to understand what they bring to the table, how they can then activate themselves, how they can truly step into their power, their permission, their brilliance as such. And, my business is called Magnificently You Limited because I truly believe that we are all born magnificent. So,
Yes.
yeah, if
I
you're looking
couldn't
for
agree more.
power, I'm the one.
Yes, you are. And do you know what? I said to you before the call, whenever I think of you, I think goddess, but I also think leader. You, the self-leadership that you show, the leadership that you show others, the followers you have, not just from like a LinkedIn count from a followers, but you truly have people that stay so close to you, that look up to you, trust you, know that you always act with integrity and you're very values driven and values aligned. Talk me through, Madeline, because I know that operating at your level, you are holding a lot.
Yeah,
What situation did you find yourself in where you actually thought, hang on a minute, I need some support here? Talk me
yeah.
through that.
I'm a firm believer that you can't expect people to pay you if you're not willing to pay other people. And so I think it's truly important to get support. And I do, I do. I am naturally the person that people go to. Us cancers, people always come to us, we give a lot. And there comes a point where you have to go, okay, what do I need for me? And that definitely was where I was when I was like, okay, I'm going to approach Laura. I recognized that I just really wanted some support, some accountability. Again, it's like, who do you go to when you're the person that everybody else goes to? And that definitely is the case. And as I said, I think it's truly important to seek out that support because I was feeling a bit burnt out. I'm doing a lot. I have the Brilliant Summit that was happening. I have corporate programs that I run. Then I've got stuff that I do with individuals. I think at the time I had a community as well, which I ended up closing and which is actually coming back. And I just think what's so important is well, at that time, I was like, I need a somebody.
Mhm.
I need a somebody. I need some support.
Yeah.
Um, and so I know you're going to ask me like, why you? And I'd really admired you, what you did. I'd met you in person. David's my husband's.
Yeah.
And your just energy is so beautiful. You have so much light. I mean, even if we look at you now, there's just so much light. And I really wanted somebody, back in the day, I've done business coaching, business support. And I realized I want support for me and I want support for my business. And it's not a case that I don't know what to do. I just want accountability.
Absolutely not.
And I want somebody who I feel I can trust, somebody who's going to bring energy, somebody who's going to uplift me and support me. And I couldn't think at the time you had something that was going on. I remember I approached you and I said, hey, thinking about doing this. I think it was your accelerator program, and I don't think you do that anymore. But anyway, I was thinking about doing this, and you were like, no, no, no. That's not for you. You need one to one. That you're way beyond that program. I was like, okay,
Absolutely.
thank you. And I loved your honesty about where you saw I was. And so that's why I was like, she's the girl for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see you so clearly, and we're the same person, whether we're like on camera in real life versus behind the scenes. But I know, because I know personally what it's like when you grow in a multi six-figure business
Yeah.
and you give so much of your energy, you pour into so many people. And we're also both really bright and we spot patterns. And what happens is with us is we've got so many different ideas and we're sometimes shiny object, I could do that,
Yeah.
I could do that. And I think one of the things that I really loved about working with you is you were so willing and open to really go through things with a fine tooth comb and go, right, how does this serve me? How does this serve the mission? How is this going to be of value to the business? Because just because you can do all of those things doesn't mean
Yeah.
that you should. And I love how you always take that radical responsibility as well, Madeline, to go, look, ultimately the book stops with me. And your tenacity and your ability to evolve and also be innovative with your clients as well when you're coming up with different solutions to support them on their journeys. Often these
Mm.
huge, like multi-million, if not billion-dollar companies, you are the one they lift the phone up to. You are the one that they come to because you are the best at what you do. So it was truly, from the bottom of my heart, such a pleasure and joy for me to be that critical friend to you and to hold that safe space where you don't need to perform. You can just let your shoulders drop, you can breathe and go, oh, right, what should we do about this? Or what do you think about this idea? And you role modeled that so beautifully from start to finish as a client. So I am super grateful for you.
Oh, I appreciate that. I mean,
Thank
for me,
you.
having accountability, being able to, I have a lot of ideas and I can see how I can make them work. But obviously you've only got a certain amount of
Yeah,
capacity.
of
So
course.
being able to, for me, having like a touchstone, being able to bounce off ideas to really go through. One of the things that I really appreciated was, you always kept pushing to me simplification, simplification, simplification. And it's so easy when you run your own business and you're trying to hit your market in all the different ways to make it more complex than it needs to be. And what I've truly appreciated was having somebody to bounce off. And I know sometimes I don't even know if you've got word edgeways in, I was like, here's all the things that I'm thinking, help me. And I think that's a really important thing, just having that space. I think safe space is definitely what I experienced. And one of the things I also said that really stood out for me, you may not realize it, and for some people might say, they go, oh, well, is that it? And I'm like, no, actually you have to understand what it means, because I work with, I make copious notes, but you type those notes, and so that means in real time there is a document to go back to with everything that's been discussed, all your recommendations, all the things I said I was going to do,
Yeah.
my to-dos, the people. One of the things I think both of us have amazing networks, and we're generous with those networks. And so what was great was like, okay, you need to speak to this person, da, 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 here she goes, here you go. And being able to have that, look back on that, I think that's really crucial. I think a lot of people work with people and they have that session and then off you go and there's nothing really to go back to. So I really appreciated that, and I don't think people understand how hard that is to do when you are being present for
Yeah.
somebody else, and two, how impactful that document actually is. And so that really made, I think that's one of the things that also stood out for me that really does deserve a mention, because I now forever have a document that has everything we discussed, and even kind of like before a session, I could look at it and go, what did I do? Did I do anything? Shit, I didn't do any of it. So, but,
Real
or
life.
work on that. So, or, oh, actually I've knocked that out. I'm So I really, really loved that. And as I said, for me, the accountability, also you have a really great marketing brain as well.
You.
And that's how my leadership lounge came about, obviously, because you had, your I can't remember what it's called,
Super
but
connector. Yeah.
your Simply Connector. And also just being generous with the ideas, just great to be able
Yeah.
to do that. And again, it's not that I don't know. It's not that I haven't got all of these things. It's not that I'm not, oh, I'm so needy in any form or fashion. But having support, I don't believe you can do this journey without having support. I don't believe anybody, all of this, I did this all on my own. It's bollocks. You
Yeah.
didn't, there are people who supported you. You went and got ideas from people. And, that's one of the things I think that you do so incredibly well, and it's so worthwhile then having that time with you. And some people may go, well, what are the objectives? Did you
Mm.
move it from here to here? Actually, sometimes you just need somebody to hold your hand as you walk your journey, and that's what you do really well.
Thank you. That is so beautiful. And if I think I've worked with so many coaches over the years, both back when I had 15 years in corporate and then in my business as well. And you need different things in different seasons of your business and different seasons of you as well, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
we're always evolving, we're changing. We know from a macro and a geopolitical perspective and technological perspective, things are moving at such pace.
Mm.
And I love everything that you've said. Thank you so much. I also love that we were able in real time to lock in very quickly to, right, how are you? What do
Mm.
you need right now? And I think that's the thing that we're both high performing women. I don't want to say high achieving because that's a given, but there's a difference, isn't there, between high performer and high
Yeah.
achiever. And I think what we're both really good at is yes, advocating for everybody else's needs, but what do I need in that moment? And we can both spot that in each other and in our clients that we work with too. Fabulous. So to wrap this up, you hit the nail on the head, Madeline. My clients, similar to your clients, they're not broken. They're not inadequate. They're not inept at what they do. They're all highly intelligent, highly capable women. They just have a lot on, both
Yes.
within the workplace, within their businesses, within their home life, and everything else that we're meant to do as well. What would you say to somebody who she absolutely can do it on her own because she's super successful, but perhaps there's another way where she doesn't need to do it alone? What advice would you give to her about investing
I
in a
mean,
coach?
it goes back to the beginning of what I said, you can't expect people to pay you and you not pay anybody else.
Mm.
You have to invest in yourself. Your growth comes from, yes, you're reading and you're this and,
Yeah,
but you have to recognize that you don't have all the answers and
yeah,
that you do need, and even if you did have all the answers, you still need space to be able to work those out. And I think working with you is definitely for me, I remember coming to you saying I really would like some accountability and
yeah,
support. And so for me, get the accountability. It's only going to help you find more clarity. And also just, you're such a champion. So it's also good, a nice little ego boost as well.
yeah,
And you can say,
of
well, I don't need
course.
an ego boost. We all need an ego
We
boost.
do. Were you
Um,
like me where, I mean, I was a head girl. I loved an A star. Like, I like feedback. That works really well for me. So it's lovely for somebody to go, girl, you are crushing it. Like, that was a great
yeah,
idea. I loved what you
absolutely.
do there. Of course, we're all
Yeah.
human and perks us up.
But I think also with that, if we're very, very honest, as women and women who do well, we don't always get that. So what
Yeah.
we often get is you're too much. And so having the support makes a really big difference. As I said, accountability is really good. And that pushback of, do you need to do this? Do you need to do this now?
Yeah.
Or where does this sit within this? Or who is this for?
Mm.
And how will they benefit from it? And how are you going to actually be able to deliver it? Being able to go through that with somebody else is really, really important, or somebody else going through that with you. And I think also direction. I think, especially in the time as such as this, having really clear direction and having somebody to help you find that direction is super important. And so for me, I would say, yeah, invest. I'm always going to say invest. I think you always benefit. I know you always benefit. And even if it wasn't exactly what you thought it was going to be, there is still, I mean, I invested in a program to help me create a community, several years ago. And I learned so much about how not to do it. And that every penny was worth it,
Yeah.
right? So it may not always be, and I'm not talking about you, I'm just talking about in general, it may not always be exactly what you thought you were going to get out
Yeah.
of it, but you will definitely get out of it. And I definitely advise, if you want to take your business to another level, or even just re-level the business, like rejig what you're doing, then definitely take the leap. It's worth it.
I love that. Thank you so much, Madeline. And if any of you are watching and you know of a woman who is in corporate, who is in leadership, you need to introduce her to this woman because Madeline is incredible. Madeline, it's been my absolute pleasure. I love the fact that we are now sisters and friends. That is something that I never take for granted. You are so kind and generous and so much fun as well. I love spending time with you and just chewing the fat, putting the world to rights and all the rest of it that we do. So thank you so much for your
You
time.
too, babe.
And I really hope that people reach out to you also. Thanks, Madeline.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.